shift the way you lead, the way you live. Clarity, courage, change. Because your next level won't wait. This is Monday Mindshift, the clarity you've been craving, the shift you didn't know you needed. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monday Mindshift. I'm Sean Michael. I use the title Identity Disruptor because what I'm about is helping you move from old identities that are no longer serving you into the identity that will take you where you want to go. Thank you, anyone who's joining, and whether you're live or replay, know that you are appreciated. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for everyone that's been here all year, for everyone who's came for one episode or another. You've added your comments, you've added your wisdom, your questions. You've helped make Monday Mindshift what it is. It's just over a year old, and it's been I've had a lot of enjoyment sharing this and engaging with everyone. So hats off to you all, and let me get started. So on Mind Over Matter with Leslie, we were talking about identity reset, right? And a lot of it was about awareness. Today's mind shift is identity integration. It's the next step after awareness of integrating our identity to prepare us for the new year. Now, this isn't about learning something new. This is about finishing the old, right? As the old saying goes, out with the old, in with the new. My wife's been cleaning the house, partially because there's a lot of people that say this. She has a lot of contacts that she works with that are from Japan. And in Japan, I think it was yesterday, they do a very thorough cleaning to get ready for the New Year's, to make sure that they're not carrying old energy, old things into the new year. So what I wanted to talk about today on Mindshift, this last Mindshift of the year for 2025, is how we let go and release, finish the old so that we can be clearing and clear and ready for the new. Now, I would say this. Most people end the year with insight, but very few end it with integration. Today's discussion is not about learning more. It's about closing up loose ends, completing the unfinished work, the unfinished self, right? It's about integration and forgiveness, release, and embodiment. I'm not bringing you a planning session or a resolution session. We all know how to do that. It's also not some kind of self-improvement exercise. Think of it as a closing ritual. We don't want to step into the future, to the new year, by pushing forward. We do it by deciding what no longer needs to come with you. Jackie, welcome. I see Leslie has a comment, but I think that was a pre-show comment. I see a few people joining, and I know there's a lot going on in this season. We're all getting ready for New Year's. We just finished Christmas. And so if you're here, I appreciate it. I'm grateful. All right. So insight, awareness is it's very useful. It's very important, right? As I always said, you can't fix it if you don't know it's broke. Sharon, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. But without taking awareness and insight and integrating it, we can easily fall into self judgment, mental loops, feeling pressure, like, if I just could do better. And with that, we carry unfinished identities into the future, into the new year. When we can see our patterns clearly, but we don't, like, we see our patterns clearly, but if we don't forgive ourselves for having them, it creates a split. We have the insight, and often we feel some shame underneath it. Clarity is what reveals the pattern. Integration is where we tell the nervous system it's safe to release it. So I have a question for you, and I'll put this in the chat. What did you see this year that you haven't made peace with? Right? What's that thing in your life that you saw, you became aware of it in this year, but you haven't made peace with it yet? All right, I'm just trying to get where I can actually paste this. All right. Right? Awareness, noticing it, you got to notice it to change it. But have you made peace with it? This is what I call unfinished identities. You see, we don't just carry habits into the new year. We carry old identities. For example, the over responsible one, the one who didn't speak up when they felt they should, the one who stayed too long, the one who tried harder than they needed to, or the one who survived instead of chose. These are just examples. You can probably name your own. And Angie, Christy, welcome. Thank you for being here. First of all, I want to establish those identities are not mistakes. They were strategies. They had a purpose. They had a season. We're not looking to erase who you were. It's about acknowledging the role they played and how they served us, saying thank you. Thank you for moving me forward in this endeavor. Thank you for keeping me safe, protecting me. And then your job is done. Thank you. Meryl, welcome, welcome. Yes, always can count on you, Meryl. Oh, let's see. What's Jackie say? Yeah, that's a tough one, Jackie. But for our own sanity, our own well-being, we need to focus on releasing it from our side. We can't control what other people do. I learned this lesson a hard way. I was in a confidential space that had strict guidelines that anything spoken of in this group stayed in the group. It was absolutely not to leave the group under any circumstance. And somebody violated that confidentiality. And I had to process through forgiving it, letting it go. And I overshot. Like I would see this person and I would say, "Oh, hi, good morning." And they would just give me a look. And one of my mentors pulled me aside and she said, "Look, Sean, forgiveness doesn't mean allowing them back in. It doesn't mean you have to try to pretend to be friendly. It's simply letting it go so you don't have to carry it anymore." So, with that, I have a question, and then I'm going to look at Angie's comment and Jackie's because those were some deep, powerful comments. What version or which version of you feels unfinished? And the second question, which role are you tired of carrying? All right. So let's see. What does Angie say? Too much grace around self care. That's an easy trap to fall into, isn't it, Angie? Of and I find we tend to do that as humans. We're at this extreme, like no self care, and we compensate. We tend to overcompensate and swing entirely the opposite way. Now we're indulging too much instead of what I've learned in my life is to make small adjustments, more like the way the pilot adjusts the plane, right? If he sees that he's going off course, he's going to make a small adjustment a little at a time. Because obviously, if he made a major adjustment, the passengers would freak out. It's the same in our life, right? We need to make small adjustments and be careful about the broad swings. Eventually, those swings will, it's like the pendulum, eventually they'll settle at the middle if we allow it. But isn't it more beneficial to us if we see we're at this point and we make a small adjustment towards where we need to be? But it is an easy trap to fall into where we tend to overdo it and swing to the opposite side. All right, self forgiveness. This is a topic that came up when I asked what people wanted to hear, right? It's often easier to forgive others than it is to forgive ourselves. And I would say forgiveness for others or for ourselves, it's not about excusing behavior. It's not saying, "Oh, it's okay, I'm going to let it go." No, 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 no. When it comes to self forgiveness, it's releasing that identity that needed to act in that way. When we withhold the forgiveness of ourself, there are some consequences. The first one is we tend to fragment in our identity and we get stuck in these repeating cycles. I like the way Angie talks about it in her positives, her PQ rooms, right? The saboteurs, right? We all have the sage and we have the saboteurs that, you know, can get us off course. And that's part of the self-forgiveness is yes, the saboteurs, they're part of being human, right? It's like dealing with it and forgiving it. Like, okay, I forgive you. You thought you were protecting me. You thought, you were acting to keep me help me feel safe or comfortable. But we need to forgive and let go, right? So that we're not dragging old versions of ourselves into the new chapters. And that's especially prominent right now, right? We're at the end of 2025. Today is the 29th. We have 2 days left of this year. This is the time when we often are looking at, okay, what are we going to do in 2026? And Lisa, welcome, welcome, welcome. And Angie, exactly right. It is hard to let go. It's hard to know when to let go. Whether it's a relationship with another person or it's a relationship with one of our identities that's no longer serving us. There is a grieving process. It's just like losing someone. Or like in 2025, I lost my pet who had been with us for 17 years. And there's a process of grieving and letting go. But let me say this. You cannot integrate a year that you're still punishing yourself for. Right? Let me repeat that. You cannot integrate a year you're still punishing yourself for. So look back at your year. Where did you beat yourself up over things? Now, I have a little guided inner practice that if you're able to do this while I'm saying it, great. If you can't, go back and watch the replay and do this. You will find it very, very helpful. So here's the process. Bring to mind the version of you that didn't know what you know now. Notice what they were trying to protect. Quietly say to yourself, to that part of you, you did the best you could with what you had. That's it. Yes, it's never easy to let go. The wisdom comes in knowing it's time to let it go, isn't it, Jackie? Yes. Aren't we all, Angie? We're all human. We not perfect. We make mistakes. We don't deny those parts of us. We acknowledge, we can thank them, we can learn from them, and we can even embrace them. All right. So how do we close the year clean? You see, integration requires completion. We need to close the loops. So the way you can do this is to name what's complete. Say it aloud. It might be a role, it might be a belief, it might be a pattern. Let me see if I can change this. Yes, I can. Put your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath and a long, slow exhale. So this chapter is complete. That's it. Let your body know. Let your versions, your identities know that it's safe. You can release this. Right? Completing it, closing it doesn't mean that it didn't matter. It means it doesn't need to run you anymore. And I'd love to hear from everybody today or later, come back on New Year's Day or something after you've done that practice, right? Where you've named the thing that you're completing. You're saying, this is it, it's complete. This chapter is complete. You're doing the breath exercise, the hand on your heart. Let me know. I'd love to hear, what chapter did you close? What chapter did you finish? And tell me what feels lighter just by naming it. This is the turning point where we choose who or what parts of us we will carry forward into the new year. This isn't about goals or resolutions. This is about qualities of the identity we want to live in 2026. Could be steadiness, honesty, grounded leadership, one of my favorite, self-trust, or compassion without collapse. That's been a hard lesson to learn as an empathic person, is to have compassion without falling in the hole with them. So if you could carry one quality forward, not as a performance, but as a practice, what would it be? As you're saying in the comments, it's a process. And identity isn't a target. It's not a goal. It's not something like, boom, one day it's there. It's something we rehearse gently each and every day. All right. My final statement on this teaching. Say this to yourself. The truest sentence I can say as this year ends is. The goal here, we're not looking to end the year as better versions of ourselves. We want to end it as more integrated versions of ourselves. And with that, I am going to go ahead and put the link on the screen. And with a little copy paste button. And I invite anyone who's open to come speak on stage. You don't have to turn your camera on. And let's see. Kindness, love it. Enmeshment, I am enough. Well said, Angie. Well said. I think that's something valuable to remind ourselves on a regular basis. I am enough. You're not broken. This isn't about fixing, because it's not broken. It's about uncovering and even deconditioning and integrating all these parts. And I love that, Christy. Self-compassion. Powerful. Stewardship. I'd love to hear more on that, Sharon. What's your vision of stewardship? I've known many of you, or I've interacted with many of you over the last year, and it's been a wonderful journey. And I think we've all grown a lot. We've gained more awareness. We've taken more bold action, even when we were afraid. And I love to be in this space to see this growth for all of us. All right. So, yes, stewardship. That's a powerful line. And it's a very, I can't think of the words for it. But again, I invite you, come speak, come share your thoughts. Let us hear your voice. Don't be shy. The Outrageous Love World Tour. Very interesting. Looking forward to seeing that evolve. And I can appreciate that because next week I'm traveling to San Diego for the global launch of the $1 billion impact marketplace or impact project. So they're doing a big global launch for this. And here is what it is. So this is this project, this impact project is a new era of entrepreneurship, generosity, and global impact. And it fits. Yes, I can, Sharon, for sure. Hopefully you'll be able to join today. Happy New Year, Angie. And I hope to be able to join you for your clubhouse very, very soon. Or this week, if there is one. The last couple I haven't been able to. Let's see, where's Sharon so I can send her the link? There she is. All right. So this $1 billion impact project is about community, about working together, collaboration, transparency, and real-time connection. Right? It will be a room full of CEOs, founders, creators, change makers, entrepreneurs. And the goal is to raise $1 billion for global impact. We're combining profit with purpose, working at collaboration over. John, welcome. And thank you, Meryl, for inviting John. Glad to have you here up there in chilly Chicago. But I heard you're not getting the snow. We were thinking about taking my son up to Chicago to see the snow, and our friend up there said there's not much snow here. And there's Miss Sharon.
And yes, Angie, that was the link, but I'm trying to turn my camera on. It's not working. Okay. Not exactly camera ready this morning anyway, so all good.
It's all good. Thank
Yeah,
you
so
for
I've
joining,
I've
Sharon.
thank you. I've been working on this a lot of different things, and they're all interrelated. And it just took me a while to see how, because it's big. And they say if your
Mhm.
dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. So I guess they hadn't been big enough. And then I woke up just the other day, was like, oh my God, that's a lot, but that's incredible because they're all really fun, like the things that I would be doing, but they would still incorporate my whole career because I just don't have it in me to throw away the past however many 30 years that I've been doing technical product management and software development, not me personally, but the orchestration of it all from
Mhm.
ideation to market launch. And so a lot of this is about that. But like all my friends here on LinkedIn, they do such amazing, beautiful things. And so I want to have like a podcast, like you do your show weekly, something like that, where I'm just featuring other people and getting to know them and sharing about them. And then I saw Omar in Leslie's room and he does the game shows, right? And so I'm like, I have some ideas about game show, right? So it's just all kind of the dots are just connecting. And I'm like, literally, I have global friends. So we need to all be coming, like not onesie, twosie, but like panels of you guys as guests, just having open conversation about all of these things because we learn a lot from each other. And I just want to have a place
Absolutely.
where it's like a tribal elder council. Maybe I should even call it that. I do have something I call my IFU tribe. I flow with you. So how Leslie says we're always all talking about the same thing. I'm like, yeah, but the percentage of people talking about these things on the planet is minuscule.
Right. We're just a
Like
small sample.
we're like a speck on a speck in terms of like putting this information out there. Like I had someone, and you just never know, everyone's on their own journey. And I had someone in a comment ask if like our vibrational frequency can actually be measured. I'm like, yep, if there's science, we can do that. So like what we think people know and it's real obvious to us isn't. And
Right. It's
so
not,
I'm on
not
a
so obvious
mission,
to others. Yeah.
right? And it's like I'm on a mission though to like subversively share this information through artwork and fashion and cartoons and story and just any kind of way that the other mainstream media gets their messages out and teaches the masses things, right? Which aren't necessarily the best thing for them in their best interest. So it's
Absolutely.
just been since the audio rooms, I've just been collecting these humans that have this vibrant aura and brilliant wisdom and sharing their wisdom gems because they want to, just out of love. And so that's why I named it the Outrageous Love World Tour. Because
I love
plenty
it.
of people that know less are charging a lot of money for that information and it's not even worth it. And then y'all bring the value for free with just, your heart open and just to share your wisdom and maybe get some of your own in the process. So that's what the Outrageous Love World Tour is about. But it could be anything, like one of my co-authors is this awesome drummer from This Is My Story, letter to my family. And then Leslie's came out in the format of a play, and she's talking about a children's book, which is super exciting because, like, we just know a little smidgen of her, right? And some of
Right.
these other folks that have so much depth, and they always have the mic, Sean. So my goal is I get the mic and I ask the question.
There
So
you
be
go.
ready because I'm coming for you. You're on the list. But just like the Kingas of the world and the Jackie Halbergs and the Leah Garcias and Nick, right? Just so many people that just have these
Well,
fountains of knowledge.
like the Sharon Roses who have quietly, for most of the time I've known you, quietly encouraged and shared. And only recently have I gotten to hear your voice. Like over the
Oh, do you
last,
know why that is? I learned three things. I learned from you, name it to tame it. Then I learned this full body icky feeling I would get periodically over the years, but it was intense, that that's actually feeling psychologically unsafe. I was like, whoa, that was a lot to unpack, right? And then coercive control. And I was like, what? And so you mentioned being empathic, and like I've been studying a lot. I'm always looking at self, but I know I'm not a narcissist. Why? Because I'm an empath. And those are like two sides of the same coin. And then there's the rest of the population. I call them normies, right? But like, and I have an analogy that the empaths are dark chocolate ganache filled bunnies, and the normies are milk chocolate solid bunnies. And then the opposite end of the empath is the narcissist, and they're just hollow dark chocolate bunnies, and they never really bother the normies. They might take a bite off their ear, and the regular bunny's like, get off me, ouch, get away from me, right? But like as empaths, we can see the good and greatness and potential in others, and we want to help them realize it.
Hmm.
Oh, Sean, it's taken me so long to be like, that's nice that you see that, but you can't affect it. So stop trying, stay in your lane. If someone helps, ask for help, I'll help. But I won't just offer solutions that seem really obvious to me and it's right in front of them, but they're not taking that path. That would make me so crazy. And one of my co authors describes herself as a fixer. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's really bad. I do that. I used to do that. Like it's when you have kids, it's so hard not to give them the answer, right? And it's
Right.
just like, well, especially like 7, 8, and 9 were really hard for me because I thought my twins should have been a lot further along. And I really know nothing of children, right? So it's just like I'm an only child. I didn't make it a week in first grade with the regular kids in the public school. Like, I just don't like relating to that age group is super hard for me, just even as that age group. So it's just been interesting to see, how all y'all show up as parents, because you talk about like leadership as a parent, just leadership of self, like so many different things. So I'm ready to talk about a lot of things and have groups of you sharing at the same time, because that's a lot to string together over a week, right? I'm like, no, I need Leah, Sean, Leslie, and Nick in the room, and maybe Jackie and King get you. Like, we need a whole like tribal council of people talking about these things. So
Yes.
that's what the
Don't forget
Outrageous Love World
Angie.
Tour is
You
about.
you can squeeze Angie in there. Angie's a bundle.
Angie, they're like, okay, I have to go through. Hopefully, I can find an AI that will put my 39,000 photographs in at least three piles: humans, not humans, landscapes, or other humans, other, and landscape, something like that. But I have screen captures of people that I was in an audio room or whatever. I didn't have, I was out and about, and I'm just like, I can't forget this person. I'm going to need them for later. So I'm trying to build my pipeline. But then I want like some people that have been doing shows for a while to advise me. So DM me, you guys, if you have any ideas or thoughts. And then Omar came up in Leslie's room. I saw him because I'm like, I have some game show ideas, and they're, I don't know, loosely based on, and you might remember these. I don't know about the rest of the audience, but Match Game and Hollywood Squares, because it was like, say, I don't know, between 6 and 12 people, and like it was and there were questions, but was more about the witty banter among the contestants. And
Right,
I could
right.
just imagine like William Rochelle and Kinga and Jackie, and I don't know, I think it would be really cool, but it was kind of be of mind and soulful nature. Then we can have special guests on, as maybe we have the panel and then the contestants. I don't know. It's just an idea that I'm working on, but I just want to share the love that everybody has in our small circle. So Marvin Martian gets called over by his homies up on Mars or wherever they are. It's a Martian, I guess it's Mars. Um, they're looking down the telescope and they see this spinning disco ball, it looks like, oh my God, what's that? Oh, that's Earth. Rosie had everybody turn on their heart lights, and they're all shining bright and holding hands and, snuffed out the darkness with their bright light. How do they do that? Outrageous love. It's a whole world tour.
Yes. Well, and as you were talking about this community of greatness,
Hmm.
we've all connected. We go to different shows. We see each other in other shows. I'm reading a book about ikigai, like the real
Oh,
ikigai,
yeah, 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 yeah.
not
I'm
the
not
Venn diag, not the Venn
right,
diagram,
right, right, right. But the true, yep.
the
Because that
true
that's a
full depth.
beautiful thing. Yeah.
But the chapter I just finished was called Ibasho, and the simple definition of Ibasho is your place to be. It's
Yes.
community. It's the place that you just like. It's kind of like the old Cheers, right? You want to go
Right.
where
But
everybody knows your name.
the beauty is it doesn't have to be a physical lat long on the globe now, right? We have the
Right.
technology. Thank you, Gen Xers. You're welcome, by the way. No, I know it started way before that, but we had a lot of not of those things. Like I still have a wall phone in my parents' house. It doesn't work, but if I need to demonstrate me at 13 on the phone with my boyfriend what that looked like to my twins, I have the props and I'm willing to go there. I mean, just a reminder to the youth of how far we've come in such a short period of time, right? And like where we can be going and are going with AI and all the amazing technologies that are coming online, and to not be afraid of it because, the world's been ending since Y2K and now it's about to be 2026. So technology is our friend, not our foe. And when we treat it as
Well,
such, then it's good for everybody. But it can be misused. I'm not saying it can't, and I very much an
right.
advocate
It's
tech for
it's
good.
all a it's all a tool,
Right.
right? And a pair of scissors is a very useful tool.
Yep.
It can also be a
Or a
very
nice
dangerous
weapon.
weapon.
Yeah, I use
Right.
hammer, but
And
same thing. You can hang a lovely painting or
hammer,
smash
well,
someone in the face.
sometimes I use this innocuous pen, right? It's great
Uh-huh.
for writing your notes, writing in your journal, but you could do some
I
damage with it.
know. I would carry Parker ballpoint pens, and it's just small enough to fit in my hand where you can't really see it. But if I need to click it and poke your eye out on the train because you're attacking me, that's going to happen. Like it's just about being aware of your surroundings and mindfulness and using what's available to you. So, energy is
Right.
the best way, though, to keep away the baddies and get to be able to use the tools for good, not evil. But that's a
Well,
whole trained thing. It's definitely,
and
especially
I
as an
would
empath, it's hard because when you're shining, people see you. Sorry, go ahead.
right. And well, the other thing in it is as we grow, as we move to our higher levels, we'll say our new identities,
Mm-hmm.
our energy, of course, will shift,
Mm-hmm.
and we will experience less of the baddies coming into our
Oh,
circle,
they're
right?
different. They have nicer outfits, better smiles, they drive good cars. As the saying goes, another level, another devil, right? And so it's
Right.
just about really like grounding in your identity and holding steady in your vibrational set point. Because everyone has a set point and you know what it is. And when you're really self aware and in tune, you know when you're off of it.
Right.
You're
Well,
normally on a high flying disc until someone pees in your Wheaties, which is a silly saying to me. but
that's an old school saying too. Like,
I
how many
know I
people
haven't put
today
Wheaties in my body
even know
ever.
what weed is? But
I don't know why they always put the athletes on the cereal boxes. It gives me a headache in my eye because there's nothing healthy about that. But anyway.
yeah, one of my mentors likens our identity to a set point on the thermostat, right? If your house thermostat is set to 68 degrees, as the temperature falls, it's going to reach a point and the heat kicks in, and
Hmm.
it's going to try to bring it back to temperature. Or if
Yes.
the temperature is rising, it will kick on the air conditioning, and that will try to bring us back down. It's the same thing with our identity. Wherever our identity is, if we try to stretch too far out into the next level, it will generally try to pull us back down. This is where self sabotage, procrastination, perfectionism.
I'm laughing because I'm like, aren't those words all like code words for, then you said it, perfectionism? Like that's how, when I don't want to admit that I'm a recovering perfectionist, I use those other words. And if you're not one, then you don't know. So I get away with it. But if you're another perfectionist or recovering perfectionist, then you know. You're like, oh, she's not fooling me. That's code for perfectionist. And it's, I used to give that as an answer in interviews, like what your biggest weakness is. And I would say I'm a perfectionist, and people would laugh like it was cute. And I'm like, oh, you clearly don't know what a perfectionist is. Like, it's okay. I mean, when I was designing, it was really bad because pixel perfect is a thing, and I would obsess over the design. So then I moved away from into just defining the product and being up a level so I wouldn't have to be that meticulous. But yeah. But yeah, so
Right. Well,
that's what it
one
is.
one
Outrageous
lesson
Love
I
World
learned on that,
Tour. That's it.
right, and the
Yeah.
perfectionism I found for me at least, and I believe it's true for most of us, it's that am I enough question that we have, right? The perfectionist is trying to prove I am enough.
Right. It's not that I don't think I'm enough. It's like I need everyone else to know that I'm enough and I belong here, in case they were confused. Like it comes from that place, not a place of lack. Just like, and then there's other times where it's more like if you know, you know, real knows real, and I'm real quiet and I don't say anything and I'm observing, but it's either one or the other. But but I grew up, and I think Kinga could probably relate to this because she grew up with Eastern European parents. But my parents, it didn't matter. They didn't have designer things or fancy clothes, but they always presented themselves well, right? They're never going out wrinkled or untucked or unkept. Their shoes are clean, like they just presented themselves a certain way. And that's like your business card without handing anybody anything. And you walk into a room and you're announcing yourself before you even speak a word. And that's sort of how I was raised, with these levels of these standards. And anybody can do it. You don't need money to, have good posture and keep your chin up and smile. Like that's completely free, but it's so valuable. It's worth its weight in gold. And so many children aren't taught any of that. And it's just amazing to me because it, I don't know, it just is. I'm like, really? Like, wow. I mean, like my kids have plenty of flaws, but they will sit up straight, use their manners, and chew with their mouth closed. And it took them seeing, we were in a really nice restaurant, Sean, and they saw this little blonde girl with her mommy, and they got out of a really fancy car because they sat down after us, and they'd look over. Her table manners were atrocious. She was slouched over her plate and she was talking with her mouth full. And they both looked at me because she looked like this pretty princess, right? So they had this expectation, and then they saw that and they just gasped in horror. And I'm like, "Mhm." And then I just excused myself and went to the bathroom and like belly laughed heartily because it took, like, they don't listen to the parents, but when you keep repeating it and then they see it, then they know. It's like, that's interesting.
Right. Well, and I've learned a lot of these rituals and sometimes false morality, right? They served a purpose. Like I was reading, my mom always, Michael, strong and able, get your elbows off the table. And most people don't even know why that's such a big deal. But it goes back to way, way back when things were different and it was bad. Like you could dump the table if you put your elbows on the
Oh, okay. I was like, my mother came, she had 11 brothers and sisters. So imagining everyone squeezed in at the table, if you're like putting your elbows out to the, you're taking up more space than you need to, kind of thing. But the table spilling over, that makes sense too. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it for me, like the posture has to do with your breath. And when you are sitting erect, your digestion is more aligned because your vagus nerve isn't all twisted up and bent over. And so you're breathing breathing is cleaner, like your chakra systems are aligned. There's like a lot of good reasons, like health
Right. There
wise, to
there are a
do
lot
it.
of health
Yeah,
and
more than just how you look. But when, you're dealing with 12-year-old girls, their appearance matters more than their chakra alignment. So you work with what you have.
right. Well, and as I teach my son, anything can be appropriate in the right context,
That's true also.
right? If we're at a a nice restaurant, yes, we want to act a certain way. We don't want to be an eyesore, an
Yes.
annoyance to
I guess
diners.
totally, yeah. Like you have to be trained, almost like the covert operative, the section where they get passed over to the prim and proper lady, and she's teaching about which fork to use and how to order wine and how to taste the wine and how to make your tea, and just so you. But then you go to another place where you have to sit on the floor and eat with your hands. They have to be versed in all the different like cultural means of being, like what's acceptable and what's not. That's huge.
Right. Well, and
And well,
I've lived in, so I'm,
go ahead.
as you talked about Eastern European parents. So mine ancestors 400 years ago, or almost 400 years ago, came from Western Europe. So I'm like, my ancestors came to North America in 1684. So,
Hmm.
that influence, but my parents still had a lot of the same things you talked about, right? The putting our best face forward. You know, I grew up in the world where, children are seen, not heard, kind of thing.
Yeah, you said, yeah. My dad never did that to me. My mother's family was like that, but I just always believed my dad. Anything he said, I believed him. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting because coming like Eastern Europeans came over a little bit later, and at least the Yugoslavian and Czech folks that my parents descended from, they didn't have a lot of money at all. They had big families and a lot of love, but not, really a pot to piss in did they own, let alone any other humans. So I never grew up like with family ties to slavery at all. But the way, like, they were just, my dad had dark hair, blue eyes, my mom, like, light hair, green eyes. I'm adopted, so I don't look anything really like them. But the point is, I didn't grow up hearing like none of that resonated with me, like bigotry and like I just never really like the whole slave stuff. It just no. And the way they would differentiate themselves in their community, because everybody was European,
Mhm.
it was like they had to a certain way to look like they could fit in or belong. It wasn't so much about like no one had money, it was the depression, right? That's the era they came up in. And so it was how you would distinguish yourself from like just the way you carried yourself. That's all.
Right. So, in your mind, how do we decide what to let go of those old traditions?
I think if it's serving you well, but you have to be very aware of what that actually means. If it's part of your foundation, of your standards, of your values, of your core, then you hold on to it. But if it's somebody putting their should on you, then you don't.
And I would
Like
agree.
if you see value in it, not because somebody said you do this, but I mean, if you just go out into the wild anywhere in public and look around at who's sitting up straight with good posture that's over 3 years old, legitimately like 3 years old is when they start hunching because they're getting the devices and they're not like minding their posture. It's a little bit horrifying. It's like if you want to differentiate yourself, all you have to do is sit up straight and make eye contact. Wow, that's free and easy. Okay.
Well,
But
and
doing it
having
like
that
in a
posture,
natural way, not in a
right? Yeah,
performant
yeah,
way.
exactly. nail.
Like this is how you're doing the plank every day. You're like minding your vessel because you know that's the vehicle you were given by source energy to traverse the planet and go on your, human odyssey.
Right. But
And it's like 100% choice.
not only that, like the health benefits of posture, of good posture, of sitting up straight, making eye contact, the connection, the way that it connects, right? If you're sitting up straight, talking to somebody, looking in their eyes or looking at the camera, they feel heard. But additionally, it can drive our emotions, right? I heard a teacher say, like, if you put your shoulders back and look up and try to feel sad, you can't.
Oh my goodness, my person and I have this conversation all the time about like when we're out, like we do a lot of slow walking separately because he's in another country. But just the difference of like a slow stroll with your face to the sun versus the people that are like power walking and looking down at the ground. And I'm like, no, that's not a win. You're barely breathing, your posture is off point, and like you're not enjoying it. You're missing all the nature that I'm just drinking in this slow pace. And so it really goes to like how like our energy centers matter and how we are mindful of them, right? And
Yeah.
so keeping them lined up is really the best way. Like sitting is the new smoking in my realm. And so I try to hardly ever sit.
Well, and then the latest research, everybody said, okay, sitting's the new smoking. Let me get a standing desk. And the latest
Standing's the
research
new
says
sitting.
that's just as bad. Like it's about
No, that's true. And I've had this thing called the level, or is it the surface? I don't know. It's like a skateboard with like a half circle underneath that you balance on while you stand. You can spin it too if you're pretty good, like used to skate. But it's like so it makes your core work while you're standing. You're not just standing flat in one place.
right.
So,
Well, and it's about changing it up, right? Okay, I stood for 10
mhm.
minutes or whatever. Now I'm going to get away from my desk
Well, yeah, that
and do
too. The
something
screen
different.
time breaks.
Yeah. Well, right? Because they even say just looking off at something in your space to take your eyes off the screen. But I'm talking about like get away from the desk, get out of the office,
Right.
go. I like to go stand in the sunshine outside for
Yep. That's
time.
what I'm doing right now.
We do
I
family walks. We just walk around our complex.
right. Yep. Like not trying to win any races, just out for a stroll. I like to call them strolls. It's
Yeah.
just a very leisurely pace that you see so much more
And
when you really are taking your time.
of course, you and I have the advantage of we can do that most of the year. With you in Arizona, me down in Guatemala.
Phoenix, yeah, but some people actually like being out in the snow and rain.
Not me.
I'm not one of them, right? Yeah, we're not that. But like this, somebody was on one of the shows talking about that, and I was like, I have a cousin like that. She lives in Cleveland, and I never really believed her. But I mean, it's flat there. That's different than driving on hills and snow.
Right. I don't mind spending
I,
some time in the cold, but like I remember in my Navy days, we had to run at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was icy cold, and so breathing was like breathing needles,
oh yeah, that's not fun.
and to me that was not fun, and that's part of why I live where I live because I don't have extreme heat and I don't have extreme cold. I have the nice.
Well, because you talked about that, like your identity and where you are matters, but then who you're with, and who you're spending your time with, all those things matter. And I think now people are starting to realize they matter more than they used to think they did.
Right. Well, and that topic came up on Mind Over Matter, how those people, the relationships we have, even if we're not letting their, I don't remember exactly what it was about like how much we care about what other people. I think you asked that, right?
I was pretty quiet on her show this morning. I don't know that I asked anything.
Anyway, the question came up about, you know, how much we ignore what others' perception of us is. And the reality is, as a human being interacting with other humans, yes, it has an influence on us, right? No man is an island, no woman is either.
Right. I guess that's like I just got it was basically like a download that just smacked me in the face when you were saying that because there's a nuanced distinction there, right? I might care to inform somebody that just met me or thinks they know me, but I'm really different than they've perceived and demonstrate that or something. So they really get to know the real me if they have it like miscalculated or off base, or I was having a bad day even. But then it's just communicating and creating the awareness and then letting it go. If you need them to believe what you tell them and you just are monotonous about it, that's a whole different situation. But if you're just like, no, hey, no, look, this is really, I know you caught me, whatever. Like there was the one Leslie Mind Over Matter Mondays I missed where she was getting into it with Stanley Green about some topic. I meant to go back and rewatch it, but sometimes things just happen spur of the moment live. You just never really know what's going to come up. So
No,
it's
you
just
don't.
it's important to care like in that like each of us have our own personal brand and it's our reputation and how we conduct ourselves, right? So whether you think you have a brand or not, you do. And that's
Right.
about like
It's part of being human.
brand. Yeah, it's like brand management and brand reputation. Like you have to kind of own that because if you don't, if you're not watching out for it, then something could go awry and then it could go down a completely undesired path inadvertently. So it's just, I'm not saying like you have to manage it like you're, a global brand like Coca-Cola, but you
Right.
have to be
Yeah,
aware of what's,
it's not like having your own PR department.
no, but sort of.
It's
You kind of
kind
have
of
to be
like
your
what I
own
talked
PR
about.
to, yeah.
Well, if we're living true to ourselves, being aware of the space that and the group that we're interacting with, it's more of a natural thing to do our own PR. It's not damage control. It's I kind of
Right.
mentioned
Well, we right.
the
You get to
Johari
focus
window,
on the
like
positive. Yep.
being really aware of how much we're showing to the world. And like the Johari window says, you think your drapes are 50% closed. And so they're not really seeing that stuff. But the perspective from the other side is, oh no, I can see a lot of what you're doing. And sometimes I think we forget that we're always being watched. Being a father has taught me, like, even when you think you're not being heard or watched, you absolutely are.
Well, see, at the risk of looking
And living in
crazy
a
and
place.
paranoid, like I was adopted at 4 months old. So from 0 to 4 months old, completely holding it down at the orphanage by myself. And then I get scooped up first round draft pick, go home with these amazing parents that are so thrilled to have me. But I'm like, where did I come from? What did I do to screw up to get thrown away? And what are the boundaries where I might get sent away again? Like subconsciously. So I would always like, I'm just like, they're always watching me. That's why I'm really like my podcast, which is coming out. Maybe I'll get something together this year before the end of the year. I'm on the clock, but it's called Hips
I'll
Hidden in
hold you
Plain
to that.
Sight. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, I don't need to be the one talking. I have all the questions already. I just need to get all these people together, get them lined up and be like, all right, let's go. Let's talk about this today. And like, just maybe right when, but like almost like an improv thing. Like we
Right.
want to keep the
I want to
conversation
acknowledge
going.
Sherilyn. I was just thinking about Sherilyn. I hadn't seen her in a long time. And she kind of nailed it. Like, it's not about, like, I am learning to not care what other people think. If I'm acting my brand, as we said, my personal brand,
Mhm.
true to my identity that I want to be in, then yeah, if somebody doesn't like me because of that, it's
They're
not
not
on me.
for you.
It's
Right.
not for me.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's just
I don't worry about others' opinions most of the time. I'm not perfect. I will admit that.
right. No, I mean, and different, like, that's a whole complicated conversation right there because different people have different weights and different contexts and different moments of whatever is happening in your life. You know what I mean? So I might show up for you one way right now, and 2 days from now it'll be completely different because that's just the nature of the human odyssey. It's constantly evolving and changing. And the people that want to
Right.
try to stay in the
We
same
have our
place,
seasons. We have our seasons, right?
yeah, yeah.
And that season could
But
be an hour, or it could be a month or a year.
right.
Who
And
knows?
you
Like,
can't fight the seasons. Like you just have to ride the waves of the seasons is what I've been learning. And it's just like, okay. But it's been interesting because I'm just seeing how all these people that I've been meeting, a lot of them through Nick, like through the book that I was in with my co-authors, but then the other co-authors in other books, like she does the person behind the pen. And so you
mhm.
get to like talk to the authors and get to know them a little bit. And so I just feel like the value of LinkedIn is the global presence of mindful professionals. And there's a lot more of us on the platform than we know about each other. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to figure out how do I group up all these people. And so, like, the conversations grow like exponentially in terms of like depth and meaningfulness and expertise and just I don't know. It feels so good when someone says something that you're thinking. Like you do that all the time on your shows. I'm still typing it and you're saying, I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Because it's hard to find. Like if I just walk out the door and try to find someone to talk to about these types of things, they look at me like I have a third eye and maybe a tail. Like, okay.
Well, and I think that's you know, as part of, this was in the discussion about, closing out our identities and the influences. And it was actually Nick that had asked um,
Hmm.
should we be overly concerned about how others perceive us? And I say, no, we should not be
No.
overly concerned. As I said on Leslie's show, yes, we should be aware and do a mirror check, like, do I have a third eye?
Right. Like so it's just
Is
yeah,
there
where is it
is there
appropriate
something
to
on my forehead or some food in
yeah.
my teeth?
Yeah. But I mean, that's why I spend so much time in LinkedIn rooms because there's like-minded people and it doesn't matter
Right,
where in the world they are. I don't let it like limit me if I'm not in a neighborhood where I can go have a conversation
right. And
down at the
that's the
duck pond.
beauty. That's the beauty of
Yeah.
tech and online is I know, I've got you and others all across the US. I've got connections in the UK and
Hmm.
Charles
Africa
Charles Caldwell's in Hong Kong,
and
and
Hong Kong.
we have Charito in Philippines. So we really
Yep,
have this diverse,
exactly.
across Africa, South, all different,
Yep.
Nigeria, all
Hmm.
these other ones. And it reminds me of the the quote, I think it's by Jim Rohn, right? That you become, I might misquote it, but basically the five people you spend
The
the most
five
time
people closest
is going
to.
to be the
Hmm.
biggest influence on you. So choose wisely, grasshopper. That's what I
Right,
say.
totally. Like, I don't go to every event I'm invited to. I'm very socially selective.
Right. Well, like this
And it's
billion,
not
this
being rude, it's about minding your energy.
right. Well, and that's why, like, I've been in the rooms with the group that's doing this $1 billion impact project. I connected with the creator and the other person who's working with it, and seeing the work, where the money, like actually getting to talk to the people that are getting the money. Like there was one, it's called Rise Alliance for Children, and they're working with children around the world to give them a safe space where they can grow up believing in
Yep.
themselves and having the support they need, even if they're in an
Hmm.
orphanage
Right.
or
Yes, that is very near and dear to my heart. And then the folks that turn 18 and they're in foster care and then they're homeless.
they're given a
Like
garbage bag.
that's
Yeah, they're given a garbage bag with their stuff and say,
uh,
"Good luck." Yeah, it's sad. And then
I mean, actually, that's
and the sad
something
part
that I want to.
is
Paulette talked about that, like literally a garbage bag. And so that's one of the projects I'm working on is like an exclusively designed bag for them, like that's stealthy, but it's not a garbage bag and it's theirs where they keep their stuff, like so they have some sense of theirs and ownership, because I think that's a huge thing.
right. Or another one that was, and I actually got to speak directly to the founder of this. It's called Restoration Ranch, Colorado, and it's about just giving first responders like a retreat center where they can just come
Oh, nice.
and
Yeah.
just like because a lot of these they see the most darkest side of humankind
Right.
sometimes, and it
They
has
need
an
to
impact.
pet a horse. It's, whoo. No, that's
And so I'm
fantastic.
yeah, so of course I want to be there, and it's going to be a lot of powerful CEOs, founders, because her vision, Stacy's vision, is to it's a small group of entrepreneurs that have been doing this together, and some of them are large, like they got a big event planned in Dubai next year or something. But this is about like bringing this to a larger audience. That's why it's the global launch, like to go to companies. So if you've got entrepreneurs that are like me talking about, like, let's update your identity, get it on solid ground, and then this can go to help a whole team, help a whole company evolve to be more conscientious about their impact in this world. And
Absolutely.
right,
That's
and not
exciting.
just and not just like environmental impact or financial impact. Those are all the common ones. The research I've done that shows that
Like true
majority
change agents.
right, the majority of people who leave an employer, it's because of their manager. Nobody wants to be a manager these days because you're kind of thrust in there. You haven't updated your identity. You're like, oh, you're the lead developer. Now you're the team lead. Good luck. And there's a lot of demand without the support that they need. So managers are on a fast path to burnout. And I think they said like 4% of upper level even know what's going on down below. So that's my vision. And 4% is probably being very generous.
Sorry. Yeah. Like you did that hand motion, and I just saw like a really funny cartoon in my movie, my mind movie screen. I was like, oh, wow. Okay.
All right. Well, we are 14 minutes over, Sharon. Thank you for joining and sharing. I'm
Absolutely. Yeah.
excited.
Share the link to that event if you haven't already, because I'm interested in looking into that
I will do
and may
that.
let some people in San Diego, if they just, I don't know if it's sold out or whatever, they just might be interested or know somebody else
No,
that's
it
there
still
that would.
shows. It still shows tickets are available.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, and I'm
Ciao
I'm
for now,
excited to
everyone.
I'm
Yes.
excited to see the evolution of the love tour, right?
Outrageous Love World Tour.
Outrageous Love
Yes.
World Tour.
Yeah, I
And
definitely want to
and
work
and the
with
hips.
yeah, hidden in plain sight. It's I can work on it making it pretty later. I mean, have some logo and intro outro ideas, but nothing concrete, but
I, I'm
we'll
gonna
get
I'm gonna
there. That's
share I'm
evolution.
gonna share my first episodes of Daily Power Boost. And initially it was a solo me just talking, and then I got conversations, and they're just open conversations, kind of like we had today, right?
Awesome.
I have some guidelines or guardrails, but we just flow.
Yeah,
You know,
nice.
we just go where the spirit leads, as I say. All right. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you again, Sharon. I
Of
appreciate you.
course, my pleasure.
Have a great
Thank you.
New Year's Eve.